Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Debra Eckerling, author of Your Goal Guide and creator of the Deb Method for Goal Setting Simplified. Can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. So every week I bring together some of my people to dive into the special topic. And this week we're talking about something I know very well about, as well as my guests, as well as probably several of you, because we do live in this gig hustle lifestyle. We are talking about the freelance life. And isn't it a wonderful life? Now, I've done it. I've worked full time. I've always had the writer side hustle. But in this day and age, if you're not doing 5 different things, what are you doing? So we're going to talk about how we do that, stay sane, and dare I say balance. And I'm looking forward to this wonderful conversation. You might be watching us as GoalChat Live. You might be watching the replay. You may be listening to us as the GoalChat podcast on the Marketing Podcast Network. But no matter how you found us, we are so glad you're here. And today, talking about the freelance life. And we have Judy Gruen. Did I do it right? Yes. Yay me.
Thank you. Yes.
See, we practice, and still, I'm going to blame the heat. But Judy and I freelanced. Well, we both write for the Jewish Journal. That's where I do my Taste Buds with Deb podcast. And she did this. Hey, Deb, you have a show. Can I be on it? Okay, so I love when stuff like that happens. And so we know each other ish. So I'm really excited to dive into a conversation with you. We have with us Tyler, aka Ty Schmidt, who I know through the world of Gray Miller Agency because I'm listed as one of their speakers. And basically, she is the everything behind the everything. But not only that, she has her own agency. So I think I juggle lots of different things. Daheim maybe has me one upped, but we will find out. We will keep score. Not really. And of course, my dear friend Keith Spiro, who is community builder, business strategist extraordinaire. If there is a project and it's good, Keith is probably part of it. But enough about what I think of you. Let's talk about what you all think of you. I know I'm just completely scrambling a quote, but I would love for you all to introduce yourselves a little bit better and why freelancing, why this topic is so meaningful for you to be part of. So, Judy, let us start with you. Who are you? Why are you here? And we'll go from there.
Why am I here? That's a pretty existential question. I'm here because I invited myself on your show, Debra. That's why I'm here. And I've been freelancing for over 35 years. I had been a corporate editor, and then I had my first child, and my husband and I mutually decided that I would stay home with children and start freelancing. And it is pretty much been that way, even though the kids are all grown up and they all have families of their own. But, it's just too good to have this kind of flexibility. And I love it. It doesn't mean I'm always as productive. Some days are like Mondays. Oh, man, what did I do today? But most of the time, I love it. And I combine writing and editing. I'm a book coach. I'm a speaker. I still manage the house, take a lot of calls from the kids and sometimes grandkids and friends. I'm involved in my community. And all those things make it wonderful for me to be able to freelance.
And there was a time, I think not so long ago, when it was strange if you did only one thing. And these days, if you do only one thing, people are like, really? It's amazing. The world that we live in now is so accessible to basically build your own adventure type of career. Yes?
Yes, and people have to be nimble. I've seen, you kindly are showing the name of my new book, Bylines and Blessings, a memoir. Everybody should read it. And a lot of it is about the freelance life and disappointments and overcoming obstacles and all of that. But I mean, going back even 15 years ago, I started seeing among writers that they had to pivot because print media was already contracting. And then it was about content creation and names that sounded kind of Orwellian. But people, things are changing very fast in the world, and they're changing fast in the business world and in the communications world. So people really have to pivot, be willing to see, where else can I make my mark? Where else can I add value?
Absolutely. And to again mutilate a quote, I believe it was Ferris Bueller who said, life goes pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you might miss it.
Mhm.
And I do believe freelancing is a great way to make sure you're looking at everything and nothing at the same time. So really excited to have you here. Tyler, welcome.
Hello, thank you so much. I actually want to basically piggyback a little bit on what Judy said about the freelance life, but I'll rewind and start from the beginning for me. I actually was a newspaper reporter. I worked for a national teen 14 by teen magazine called Gumbo Teen magazine way back, and my first ever press conference was with Puff Daddy, who obviously has a little bit of a bad rep right now, but I thank him as somebody that pointed at me and said, "You there with the Lisa Frank pen, what is your question?" So he got me out of my shell at a very young age of 17, and ever since then I've been kind of fearless when it comes to talking to strangers and building my business. So I was a newspaper reporter for a while and ended up to truncate the story a bit. I also had kids and decided, Judy said it was a mutual decision, and I give you all the props for that. But for me, it was a me decision. My husband, of course, supported my decision, but nonetheless, I decided that I wanted to be a mom first. First and foremost, I wanted to be a mom, and making a little extra money on the side was a lovely choice. So I started building a business from literally the ground up, writing about everything from pots and pans to, goodness sakes, solar panels, and much more exciting things as well. And as time went on, I came to kind of believe in myself enough to take a chance on me, and essentially threw my hat in the ring to be part of a, like Deb mentioned, an agency called Gray Miller, as well as I've been working with FranklinCovey and a variety of other clients, about a dozen clients all over the country, doing things now that I prefer to write on. I'm capable of writing about pots and pans, but I'll get more on that later, because obviously we are going to talk more later about some goals. And one of the things, my goal ties into that. But that's a little bit about me. My two boys are 9 and 10 now, so that frees up a little more time than it used to. But I have had a fun journey so far. So,
And you're just getting started.
just getting started.
Awesome. Well, welcome. I'm really excited to have you here. Keith, thank you for having your backdrop match my branding.
I worked hard at that. Thank you, Deb.
Welcome.
So,
Good to see you. Who are you?
Happy times to be here. Who am I? I'm a business strategist and community builder, and I came through the traditional process. I started in sales, moved to marketing, moved to communications, worked my way up a corporate ladder, down a corporate ladder, into small business, nonprofits, and decided nothing was more fun than being able to choose your own projects. And for me, the whole world of freelancing came about being able to make choices.
Keith, your microphone is going in and out. So I know all of your words are good, but I'm only hearing half of them.
Let's try this.
Much better.
All right.
Yes.
Would you like the quick repeat?
Yeah, the modified quick repeat.
Sales, marketing, communications over a 25-year career, up the ladder, down the ladder, into nonprofit and projects that make a difference for community. So I've gone through each of the steps, and as the other guests have said, the ability to pivot, make changes, and have more than one skill set is needed every day as the world moves faster.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe everybody here is a writer, and you are no exception to this. Is this correct? I mean,
Correct.
I know the answer, but...
Thanks for drawing that out. So I also moved into media work, because when you're writing content, the next best step is to be able to have outlets to be sure that you can share those thoughts, conversations, and businesses that you work with.
Right. So it's all about, I guess, at least for me, freelancing is being as much you as you want, as much of the time as you can. Accurate?
I'd say accurate.
Okay, great. So other guests and friends, what do you think? What is I I realize that some, if not most of you, started freelancing because that was, what worked the best for your family. But what is it about that freelance life that you think is the most exciting? Don't all talk at once. Hi, we'll pick on you.
Okay, I'm happy to take it because I actually have something here. I think there's a great deal of healing that comes from telling your story. And one of the roles in life that I've tried to do, or one of the, I guess, goals I have as a small business owner in the freelance space, is to shine a light and make it possible and safe for businesses to tell their story. So I've done a lot of work with small businesses, as well as larger organizations and businesses. But the most important thing that I find with the freelance work that I do is I never stop learning from the stories that my clients have and need and would like to share with the world. I love the ability to help them kind of get their story out there in a way that, helps promote their business and help their business flourish and grow, but also it tends to have, an impact on them as humans as well when they're able to kind of think about how their story actually relates to their customer, their clients, and their teams in some cases. But nonetheless, I love the ability to learn from other people and then also offer them the chance to share their information and their product or service with the world.
So to paraphrase you, it's basically you get to help more people because you freelance.
Absolutely.
Is that pretty
and
much
learn
it?
from more people and grow, help them flourish. But also I always walk away. I don't believe in burning bridges. I am very much still friendly with old clients that I don't work with anymore. And I love the networking aspect of freelance work in that you can, you build an entire network of people that have a vast array of different skill sets that you can continue to kind of build from and learn from. So that's one of the things that I enjoy.
Yeah, I am definitely of belief of that one as well. And so, Judy, what do you think?
So all of that is true, and I relate to everything that you're saying, Ty. However, if you're a freelancer, you have to be a self-promoter, and it may not be for everybody. You could have a steady client for a while, and then there's some shift, and then they're bringing in new people, and you have to hustle. You have to be willing and able to hustle and sell yourself, and you have to believe in yourself to do that and know the quality of the product or service that you're offering. But I very much relate to what you say. I feel very much the same way about helping my writing clients, my book clients tell their stories in their voices, and all of that. But you have to find the clients, and they have to be willing to put money down and say, yeah, let's go for it. Let's work as a team. So it's not easy. It's not a cakewalk. But I'm very, very fortunate that I've been able to do it even during the leaner times, because my husband has a business, and so it has given me that flexibility that, okay, if it's a slow month, it's fine. I'll do something else with my time. Finally, straighten up one of the rooms or something that you also have more time for in a freelance life. All I'm saying is that you have to hustle.
You definitely have to hustle and build the relationships and see where things go. Freelancing is not for everybody, apparently. Keith, what do you think? Why freelancing? Why does this method speak to you?
Well, it speaks to me, I think, primarily because of the project passion you can bring to the table. I love the comments about learning. I love to learn as much as I share of my own skills. So when you have the opportunity to do more than one thing, it's not boring. There's always something that comes up. You're learning as quickly as you can when you're a little bit at the edge of that skill set. But having gone through the sales process, one of the best skills, because it is not for the timid, you do have to have a pipeline. And as it turns out, all of life can be connected to sales in some way, shape, or form, because there's a process, there's meeting people, there are relationships, there's staying in touch, and all of those get done continually. You can't simply stop and go, oh, great, I've got a lovely backlog, I'm good for the year. All of a sudden it disappears and right back out there again. So you have to be out there constantly. And learning is a nice way to meet people.
It is. And the other thing, I think, just to underscore before we dig a little deeper, is when you work for a company, you have like one boss or a very obvious chain of command. When you freelance, you have so many, right? You think, oh, I'm free, but really you've got 10 or 12 or 15 people you work for instead of just one, right?
That's right. Every editor, every client is a boss.
Which
and they're all different.
So why on earth would anyone ever want the freelance life, Keith?
Because of the freedom it gives you for choosing the projects you want to be on. You do have the right to say no. It's probably the hardest thing to learn in freelancing, but not every project is the best one for you or the client that you're talking to.
I'm seeing some nodding from both of you ladies. Judy?
Oh, it just brought to mind something that very recently happened. There were two projects I tried to get. One I got, one I didn't get. The one I didn't get, I think that I didn't get because my communication with the potential client was going through a third party and I couldn't control that. So I didn't have the opportunity to speak directly with this potential client. Everything was, again, through that filter. And that didn't work. And I had a feeling it wouldn't work. And so I wasn't surprised when she went in another direction. But somebody else, and this was a first, no, maybe not a first, but maybe a second. Somebody found me through my articles on the Jewish Journal and really liked my writing and approached me with a book project that she's working on, which was really thrilling. And I really liked the project. And I gave her a lot of time to help establish that trust, and got my deposit last week. So, yeah.
It's one thing that you said that I find myself saying a lot is if something seems like a red flag or if it seems like it's not going to work, run. Because you will find out if you push things that aren't really a fit, boy, is it going to bite you. Yes? Or am I the only one who's actually, I'm very good at running from red flags, but that's something you learn, right?
On a bigger project, I never make anybody sign a big contract for, the whole thing. I say, let's do it this way. Let's start with this chunk. Let's see how you're feeling about it. Let's see how it's working. I want them to feel, because sometimes you hear things that somebody's making somebody, put down a huge deposit. And I think that's a big red flag to me. And, you need the client to feel that trust in you. Otherwise, the working relationship is not going to be good.
Absolutely. Really good point. And so I'm sorry, Keith's you don't have to raise your hand. Yes, Keith.
Because I didn't want to just jump in there, but I do before we move further away. Can we talk about the word control for a minute that Judy brought up?
I would love to, please.
Because you go into freelance thinking you have more control, but the only thing you can control is how you react to the things happening around you. The very comment about so many different bosses and things going on. What you learn is to control your own emotions because you're there to assist. And as much as you may know a lot, or we may be able to have great suggestions, the whole concept of trust and letting it evolve really puts control in the hands of the people who want the results. And the freelance is caught in the middle, delivering results, not really controlling process. but trying to guide. And I look at it more as a guide service, setting some bumpers so they don't hurt themselves too badly, and build that relationship.
Well, and something I happen to know about you because you are featured in my upcoming books, 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting. Yours is all about finding alignment. So can you talk about why that's so important?
Well, it goes back to what I said earlier. When you talk about projects, projects look interesting. As a freelancer, you look to get drawn in, that somebody hires you because they like what they've seen about you. When you see a project, you go, ooh, I want to do that one. And you reach out. Both of them can be successful. But the alignment piece is what will make or break how it progresses and whether it's a pleasant experience or you end up with gray hair at the end of it.
Okay, so wait. Are you advocating for or against this? Because if those who are listening, Keith's hair is gray.
So I'm advocating for alignment, because the better you are aligned with the project, with the goals, with the sensibilities of the people who are bringing you into a project, the more you will be trusted and influence the direction of how it goes.
I have there. Raise your hand if you've ever been in a situation with you're working with someone and they always have to get everybody else's opinion and not just yours. This to me is the definition of a red flag client. Why is no one else raising their hand? Okay, hi, you're making faces. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't know if I understood the question. So could you
if you're working with a client and they need to get buy-in from dozens of other people before they take your advice, that to me is the definition of a red flag client.
I agreed. And unfortunately, and I mean, maybe it's actually fortunately, I have not dealt with that too frequently. But one thing that I did learn from a gal who, part of being a freelancer, freelance life is lonely. And so part of what I've done with some bit of intention is made a network for myself of other freelancers who, I make a point to connect with, and we talk kind of war stories and what did we learn from this kind of things. And one of the lessons that she taught me that I didn't like to hear was, if it seems too hard from the beginning, i.e. what you're saying, run. It's another situation where you don't force it. You don't see, I mean, as much as you need and want the business, perhaps, if it's hard to begin with, it's only going to stay hard, if not get harder. So, and then you're missing Keith's, alignment, and it gets to the concept of like flow, right? Like a flow state. You're not going to be a good collaborator with people that make it too hard. So, I have plenty of messes that I've turned into successes, but I have not dealt with the third party issue that frequently. So I hate to say that, Deb.
Oh no, it's this is something that I learned a long time ago. And as I said in the intro, I worked full time and for many years, as in like till 2007. And then I had a couple short stints in there, but mostly for the last 7 years, it's been me and my wonderful patchwork. Deb the freelance writer, Deb the author, Deb the goal strategist, Deb the workshop leader, Deb the podcast host, and I could probably name 5 other little things that I do. But most of my career up until 2007 is I worked full time, and it was fine, but I think it's way more fun because, as I said before, I'm like 5 different me's. I think as long as I'm only 1 or 2 of the same me's on one day, when I try and be all of the me's on the same day, that's when you have to switch gears that quickly between all of your different personas, that becomes a bit of a challenge. What about you, Judy, how do you balance all that? Because you, like me, I work with people on their nonfiction books. I do goal consulting, and
Mhm.
again, all of the book and podcast stuff. How do you balance every different part, since there's so many different parts?
Well, I'm not balancing quite as many professional activities as you are. I do my writing. I do feature work, essays, book reviews, book editing, and then other things in my personal life. But I'm also promoting my book. Book promotion is very difficult these days. I'm hearing it from just about every writer I know, and I know a lot of writers, and I find that very fatiguing. I've done it. This is my 5th book, Bylines and Blessings. So, I mean, I kind of know the drill, although the drill constantly changes because the media landscape changes. For example, with my previous book, there weren't all these podcasts. There were, but it's nothing like it is now. So I do like the being able to pivot, and I really love getting, as much as I love writing, and I do, and I always will, but I love to be able to edit somebody else's work. It takes me out of my own ego, I guess. Not that I'm always thinking of my ego when I'm writing. I want to be the very best writer I can be. But then when I'm editing, I'm focusing on somebody else. And that is a very healthy balance for me. And again, the least favorite thing I do now is the promotion. As much as I believe in what I'm promoting, it's just so endless, you know?
I love the line you just said. I know the drill, but the drill constantly changes. I think that's not just for promotion. I think that's just a life thing.
I guess it didn't really make sense to say that I know the drill when the drill is constantly changing, but I think everybody knows what I mean.
Oh no, I thought it was a really, it shows how nimble you need to be. And I also, like you, love that different things that I do use different parts of my brain, because I think that's also recipe for success. So Keith, how do you do that balance, harmony thing?
Balance is a very difficult word here. Nimble, I think, makes a lot more sense, but it really comes to, I'm a troubleshooter coming from the background of sales and marketing. I'm looking for getting work done through others. It comes from sales management as well. Having had the training and the experience in corporate, it gave me the ability to recognize that you have to get the work done through others. So when you run the other way because it's not working, it may not be the right level of connection. And you know, at some point, balance disappears when someone hands you the deadline and goes, "Oh my gosh, we've got to get this done." And so that's part of what you sign up for when you're there on somebody else's project, program, and this is freelance. There's something beautiful about writing your own pieces and publishing them, because most of the time it's on a timetable that is not on a daily deadline or a book. You know, any one of these things. And we've all published multiple vehicles in different methods. And it doesn't have that same stress of when you're on a contract with somebody and they go, "It's Friday, and all of this has to be turned in for any number of reasons because Monday morning we start differently."
It is some people have a reset button on a Monday. Other people, it's in that constant flow, right? So it's never ending, which is good, right? To have things that are ongoing. But you're right, that deadline thing, it is a blessing and a curse, is it not?
It's an obstacle and an opportunity.
I like that even better. Thank you. So Ty, what is your take on the whole balance, harmony, stay sane spectrum?
I love how you said that. I think the biggest and most important thing is to not be afraid to set boundaries, and do so the sooner the better. So you know, I've been terrible, absolutely terrible at this. I get so fired up and I don't even have, like I said, I keep talking about the pots and pans, but it's a good example. I get so excited about somebody's product or service that I'm working to help promote and help get the story out about, that I say yes, and I'll figure it out later. Right. So, I think that the biggest and most important thing that I've done for balance is finding ways to set the boundaries and stick to them. And I could continue and try to continue to work on that.
Well, you said set boundaries, and then you said something else that's important, which is stick to them. And I think a lot of people have a much easier time with the setting than the sticking to them.
Yep. Yeah. And it as we do, right? Because we care an awful lot about what we're doing. In addition to that, when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, all that jazz. But also, you can't do it if you're not here. I actually had a pretty serious health issue come up in 2020 and then again in 2022. And, that the doctor didn't exactly say slow down or die, but you got to slow down.
It was implied.
It was, yeah, basically. So, when you are running so fast that you don't stop to recharge a bit, you get yourself in trouble. So I certainly have. I'm a great example of that. But that's why, I think when people understand the why behind something, they are more likely to respect it. And that's kind of what I found with my boundaries is I tend to be I'm an outgoing human, and I love making friends, and I could be better at kind of maintaining a boundary with my clients, with my colleagues, with pretty much everybody, because I'm just kind of an open book with a big heart and want to help. Right. So, when we're that way, we need to just remember that, we have to set the boundaries and we have to stick to them.
And so, Judy, how do you feel about the boundaries question/answer?
Well, it's incredibly important to do that. And I observe the Jewish Sabbath, my husband and I. So that sets the boundary for me. And if I didn't have it, I would probably be struggling even, Friday night and Saturday. Oh, just one more email or just one more this or just one more that. But, before I light those candles, I turn my phone off. And, it feels very empowering to turn the phone off. I never turn it off otherwise during the week. It's always on. And it's, like I say, it's empowering. So if you don't have a religious reason to stop, make one up, give yourself 24 hours. As somebody pointed out to me a long time ago, I never forgot it, that the word recreation, you can break it up, recreate. We have to recreate ourselves through recreation, some kind of recreation, whether it's physical, spiritual. So I have it built into my life's plan through Judaism, but you don't have to be Jewish to find a way to do it.
It's a really good point. And I do remember, back in person when we did a lot of in-person stuff. I personally love the virtual, so I do most of my work because you can do it anywhere from here. But back in the day when I would do a lot of in-person workshops, I would say, it's great to take the weekend off. Sometimes you can't, but then take a day off during the week. Mm-hmm. So swap it out. If you can't, if you've got to cover something at night, take time off during the day. So to treat yourself as the client, and I'm sure I'll get a little bit of nodding here. That's I think one of the biggest challenges of being a freelancer, because, and as Judy was saying, promoting yourself is part of it. Keith was talking about you need to keep your sales pipeline in order. I was saying you need to keep these relationships developed. Yes, yes, yes. But you can't be doing all of the things all of the time. You have to step back and say, what things do I need to put in place so I am treating myself as a client as well? Yes?
Amen, sister.
If I'll just say this one thing. Sometimes I'm working on a piece of writing and I may have set a goal to finish it by, the end of the day, but I'm realizing I'm just not fresh and I'm not happy with that. And I feel like I'm just wasting time now. I may be rewriting, but it's not any better than it was. And I'll make myself go away from it and do something else, even if it's not work related, because that means I need that break. I need to come back to it later.
I love that. I do that too. Isn't it amazing that something that you slave over for like 2 hours, you can write in 20 minutes the next day?
The next day. Absolutely.
So you just have to stop the 2 hours and say, okay, you need to cut yourself off and just go directly to the next day, right?
Yeah, or sometimes even a few hour break, I'll come back and say, oh, okay, well, that's the answer. And then I can do it that way. But you need space. You need distance.
Something I found incredibly helpful is Dan Pink's concept of the peaks, troughs, and recovery, and getting to know and being intentional about what your strongest time of day is actually, and kind of just trying to maximize how much of that high quality, intense work you're doing during that peak as opposed to the trough. Because, taking the time during the day, if you're doing something at night and all that is good. But I find that, if you try to work within the natural cycle of how your brain is functioning at the best it can versus when, you just know that 2 o'clock slump hits and you're done for a couple hours, right? So, kind of trying to do a little bit of that on a daily basis to just paying attention to what your natural, creative genius, when your natural creative genius is strong. So
there is no substitute for knowing thyself, for sure. And Keith, you were going to chime in something about something.
Sorry.
It went back to the recharging and the time of getting it back to where it needs to be. And it's a piece of guidance I learned a long time ago. Use a calendar and make an appointment with yourself. And whether it's the strong point part of the day because you don't want to be disturbed when you're most productive, or it's the time that you're looking for any excuse to stop working because your brain already shut down. And I have learned only recently to put those into a calendar and respect them as an appointment as I would with any other client.
I love a good calendar appointment. And it goes back to what we were talking about before. Boundaries are great, but you can't just set them. You have to enforce them.
Yeah.
And so how do you all deal with, and I'm guessing because you have young children, this probably impacts you more. How do you deal with the family things that like to creep in to your work time?
Oh, goodness. Well, they do constantly, including right now. My son is playing Gran Turismo right there. So there's not a lot of space. We live in a small house and it happens. So, I've found some ways to, I guess, have some balance with that too, because sometimes I actually come back from my time with my kids or with my husband and feel even better at my job, better at what I'm trying to accomplish, better than I was prior to, say, Deb, you mentioned that you liked my roller coaster picture that I posted on Facebook yesterday. So I ride roller coasters with my kids, and 2 years ago, you couldn't get me within 10 feet of a dang roller coaster. But now I do stuff like that with them with, I guess, more intention than I would have anticipated a few years ago, because I have that quality time that fully, honest to goodness, recharges my everything, right? So not just my, creative juices or whatever, but also just my heart, my soul, who I am as a human. So I think that, I think understanding and setting yourself up to know that you will be interrupted, and that, sometimes, I think it's been a lot better with COVID too, because everybody gets it, right? Like that people have a dog coming in and babies crying and all the things. I think the best thing you can do is, I guess, be your whole self, regardless of what the, what the circumstances are. And, I find that I have a lot of, I guess, benefit to having those interruptions, which, sounds kind of counterintuitive, but it works. It has worked for me for all 10 or so years that I've been doing this. So, and they've gotten better too. Kids grow up and they respect and they see me hustling, and they both actually have indicated some level of interest in entrepreneurial life themselves. So, just trying to set them up for success also by being a good role model and a good example. But knowing that, of course, I guess the expectations are there, right? So Blaine Lee's quote about expectations, how nearly all, if not all, conflict in life comes from mismatched or unfulfilled expectations. And when the family kind of knows where the expectations are, I think we function best. But I think that would be my biggest thing, is to kind of just set things up in a way that the family it's kind of the family's thing too. So they're supportive as well.
Nice. Like that. So what about you, Judy? Because you've got family everywhere, as does Keith. How do you deal with, shall we say, life?
Yeah.
Coaching on your deadlines?
So one of the last chapters in Bylines and Blessings. Oh, here it is again. Speaking of self-promotion, shameless.
I love it, Judy. Keep it up.
I wrote that when my kids were young, I would, dream that one day they're going to grow up and I'm going to have so much more time for writing. Now I do have, I won't lie, I do have a lot more time for writing, but they're still very much part of my lives. And now that they have kids, they call me frequently with, she's got another ear infection, Mom, and what am I going to do about this? And, I don't even remember a lot of the stuff that I did for them but I mean, in a way, it's absolutely wonderful that they feel close to me and they come to me for advice and love and connection. And it's very hard for me to not answer the phone. So in this last chapter, I was already, writing as a grandmother, realizing I still don't have that work-life balance that I was anticipating for so many years. And, I'm making peace with it because it's such a blessing. It's a blessing to have my children and to have grandchildren who want to talk to me. But I have had difficulty with the boundaries because kept my phone by the desk, and if I see it's a kid calling, even if he's 32, I would get it. It's not like I had to pick him up from school because he threw up or something, but I would still get the phone. And then I realized I can't do this. So I sent an email to everybody in the family. I said, these are my work hours, and if you call, I'm not answering the phone. But I didn't keep the phone in the other room. I kept it there. So then I had to really train myself and say, the phone is in the other room, and now I'm really empowered. So for me, it's been a lifelong struggle.
Look at what you have to look forward to, Ty.
I can't wait. If I get to be anything like Judy when I grow up, I'll be very happy.
Keith, 2 or 3 or 4 cents?
There are no ways to stop family interruptions, nor would you want to, right? So it's a matter of priorities. And if that takes the top priority and you align your business that way, your clients get those results, your family, your kids or grandkids see the sign outside the door that says recording session live. And even down at age 8, they kind of learn what that means. Pa will not be happy if you come in right now. It sounds like Ty has somebody just outside the periphery of our screen. And I really think that we have set those priorities differently by being freelancers. It's one of the first choices we make, is not to say jump and you go how high. You go, these are my boundaries. Can I always keep them? No. Bloody nose, upset adult child, you're on that phone.
Mm-hmm.
You can even sense it before it rings or the way it rings. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I say that comes out of COVID That whole experience took away the facade for everyone. And there isn't a single person or company you can't identify where somebody at a very high level went through that and can't deny the fact that if you have a family or a tribe or a group that you care about, that some of those rules have to take an equal footing. And that's one of the pleasures of being freelance.
You put that so well. And I think it's the humanity, right? We are all people. Oh my goodness. That's the thing that unites us all. It's pretty cool, huh? So before I ask you all to gift a goal to the audience, we'll get to that in a second. I would love to hear from each of you. What is one goal that you hope to accomplish by the end of the year? So you're talking, you are the client. What is one thing that you want to get out in the world by the end of the year?
You mean something we produce?
It could be anything. I'm gonna, because Keith is part of my December start the next year now, so he's used to me asking him about his upcoming goals. I want to know, what is one thing that you're working on that you're excited about that you are going to do for yourself by the end of the year? Because it goes back to, as freelancers, we're great at having other clients. I'm talking about, let's prioritize ourselves as clients. And I say this after basically being hunneling, writing a book in 2.5 months and coming out of that cove. Sometimes you have to hit the pause button so your stuff can get done. So I am giving you all the pause button. What is one thing you plan to accomplish by the end of the year? And Keith, I already promised I was going to pick on you first. You should have seen this coming.
Oh, no problem at all. I started the year with 3 words, which were learn, share, and do. And it's traveled very well for me throughout. We're more than halfway through. And I'll give a shout out to, anyway, let me just, I'll stick to the point. The one key thing that we have for me is resetting criteria. So taking those 3 words, looking at what I've done, this is the year that I will have fewer projects to look at as I reset criteria downward. That alignment piece is so, so critical. And for me, part of it is age. But that's what I've set for myself, is to reset those criteria of what is a good aligned project.
And do you have something for yourself that you're working on?
The project that I'm working on for myself is visuals. It's all about the photography work that I've been doing. So one of the many hats, professional photographer. And there are several projects that I've done over the years that, if they were produced in a newspaper, they're short, sweet, and small. And there are stories that I've been telling, so I started showing in galleries again. And these are moments in time that make a difference, or turning points in not just my life, but other people's. And that's the goal that I've weaved into the remainder of the year. It's not an endpoint, it's ongoing.
Well, but that's what I was trying to get, because you had mentioned to me that you were going this gallery route, and it was a little tooth pulling, but that's what I was trying to get you to. Because, and I think the point being, because you do work with clients and you're very big on alignment, but I love that you've re-embraced doing your own thing and making sure that it is seen. So
thank you for articulating that so well.
Oh, you're welcome.
And if you go to Instagram, there will be an image up tonight of the one that has been in the current show about group effort. And there's a very long but wonderful love story that surrounds it. And that's the one that was selected by the jury to be in the show.
Awesome. So I will, if you go to the debmethod.com/blog, we will put in these. Usually I do website links as well as, but I think I can make an exception and put in Instagram links as well. But this is the best way to get the goals and get the links for everybody mentioned in the episode. So go, Keith. Judy, your turn.
I feel like I don't have anything impressive at all to say in this. I really since my book came out in late February, it's been such an effort to keep up with all my writing and the book promotion that I've really been trying to take it a little bit easier. And if the only goal that I'm looking around my office, it's small and messy, and I'm really trying to create more of a sense of order. It's not horrible, but I'm really trying to do that because it's also a way of getting rid of what I don't need and rethinking what I need in terms of physical things around me and that. So it's not very much, but it's the truth.
It counts. Everything counts in the land of Deb. Little goals, big goals, getting reorganized.
It's little,
but little things, which is a good point in this conversation, can make a huge difference. When you're off I don't need a reminder. I see what my office looks like, and in the last couple months of finishing this book, that is the thing that got down prioritized. So I kind of feel like that's got to be, I can't wait till the end of the year. I really need to get this organized in the next couple weeks because it's too much. But when you clear the decks, you make room for other things. So it's also a nice little metaphor.
Clearing the decks. Yeah, that makes it sound a lot better.
Oh, you're welcome. So I'm leading, but I think I know what you're going to say as well. What is your goal for the end of the year?
My goal is to become a best-selling author. So I don't know if that was your lead, but I have a unique opportunity to be part of a book that's coming out in November called The Triumphs of Transformation. It is a compilation book that features the stories of about 30 authors of various backgrounds talking about their own triumph of transformation, whatever that looks like. And it is a hugely unique opportunity that I am incredibly grateful to be part of this whole project that essentially will hopefully empower others to find healing and purpose in their story, whatever that story looks like. So that is my goal. It is not small. And, it goes to what Judy was saying about the promotion of a book. I work in the publishing industry, and I have for long enough to know that, writing your book is about 10% and everything else is about 90%. So, and it doesn't stop after the book is done. People think like, oh, the book's done, it's over. Nope. That's when it starts. Like, that's when the work starts. So, right now the book is coming together. It's in editing phases. It is supposed to be launching on Amazon and everywhere else in the next week or two. So, it is going to be a incredible value add to anybody that we would find, some value in hearing some amazing stories. So I'm super pumped for that.
Well, congratulations. We are pumped on your behalf. And I didn't know exactly the goal, but I knew it had to do with the book. So yes, we are definitely aligned here. And I will also, your goal guide came out in January 2020. And I still mention it every single week on this.
You have to. Yes.
Absolutely.
And the new book, 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting, will be out on this book's 5th birthday. So January 14th, 2025, they're going to be book twins or birthday twins or whatever we call them. But it's being able to share the things that we know that help other people, I think, is a common thread in this conversation. And as a freelancer, you get to do it in so many different ways. So why wouldn't everybody, well, not everybody would want this life. What are some goals that we can gift to the audience, something that they could do today, tomorrow, to either dip their toe in or get a little bit better at the freelance life? And so, Judy, what goal would you like to gift?
I'm going to give the gift that a life coach gave to me when I was about to write this book, and I was afraid to give myself permission to actually do it. And because I know, a book is a speculative project unless, you're famous and you have a huge built-in audience, which I don't. But in speaking to her, I was already writing it, but I was afraid to fully commit to it. And she asked me enough questions that established the fact that I really believed in it. And she encouraged me to do something basic that is well known, which is to only commit to very small amounts of time a day that you give yourself permission to work on that project. And so I did, and she made me commit to a certain amount of time just on the book, nothing else. And in doing that, I made unbelievable progress. I shocked myself. So the gift that I would pass along is the same gift, that something that you want to give yourself permission to do, commit to it even in very small increments of time that are consistent, and you might be blown away by what you produce.
I love that. And it is something as a goal strategist that I say all the time as well. Even 15 minutes a day, a few days a week, it's more than if you're waiting for that big chunk of time. So that's a good one. Okay, Keith, what goal are you gifting?
So the goal I'm gifting is to say yes and be kind. And they come together because doors open when you start to say yes. And the gift is to remember to be kind, not just to the people you're saying yes to, but yourself. And whether you're making it in small portions, but thinking about the words be kind makes a huge difference on how you react to the things you can't control.
Love that, because there can never be enough kindness and kindness to yourself. Again, got to treat yourself well, because you're driving the ship, the car, the boat. Well, you all know whatever kind of analogy I'm meshing together. And hi, what goal would you like to gift?
I think the most important thing that I've learned in my freelance life is to take the time to define what that alignment client looks like. Take the time to dream honestly about what your ideal client looks like, and do your best to go after it. Like, you don't have to have the wide net. In this case is not better. So, knowing who that ideal target client is in that niche, and then just going all in on it would be the biggest and most important thing that I wish I'd known sooner. Because of course, you say yes to everything because you want all the reasons, but just knowing that you owe it to yourself to know who that perfect client is, and then go get it.
I love that. Oh, these are great goals and a wonderful conversation. Friends, where can people learn more about you and how to get in touch? Judy?
My website, judygruen.com, and lots of stuff there, links to my articles, links to learn about my books, testimonials from clients about my editing work, more than you'll want.
Excellent. And hi, where can people learn more about you?
Well, the website is up there, littlebigmediamke.com, but I share my whole messy, exciting, crazy, unreal life all over TikTok. So I have it. My handle on TikTok is TY Schmitty. So Ty Schmidt Ty, and I love the opportunity there to kind of amplify everybody's voice. So TikTok is where my whole story is. Otherwise, I also am huge into social media, everything. So you can find me everywhere on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. But my preferred public journal lives on TikTok.
Awesome. And Keith, where can people learn more about you?
It's my website, Keith at KeithSpiroMedia.com. And my handle on Instagram is @Keith Spiro.
Excellent.
Following you right now.
And that's what I like to hear from these shows. And as I said before, you can go to thedebmethod.com/blog to read the recaps, get the goals, get the links, and all sorts of fun stuff. I am at the Deb Method everywhere. And you can grab a copy of your goal guide, a roadmap for setting, planning, and achieving your goals at your favorite place to buy books. And you can now pre-order. I need to start saying this more comfortably. 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting. Already up on Amazon. Even though it's a few months yet. Oh, it's very exciting. This whole freelance life journey. And thank you all for sharing your experiences and your tips for having the best freelance writer's life. What final thought would you like to leave us with today? Judy, what final thought?
Judy's excited.
I am very excited. This has been such a great conversation. It's so great to meet you, Keith and Ty. One of the main points that I make in Bylines and Blessings is one of the hardest lessons that I had to learn over years and years of writing is that I came to a point where I needed to redefine success. It wasn't going to come to me in the way that I might have ideally wanted in terms of millions of readers and millions of dollars, but I knew I had impact, and I saw that, and I felt that, and I got emails about it and phone calls about it, and that's something that was transformative for me. And for anybody who's struggling out there, wondering what's the good of what I'm doing, look for the blessing in what you're doing, and think about the impact you have, the good impact, and don't minimize the good impact.
Well, I think everybody in this group can definitely agree, highlight, asterisk the importance of your impact going out in the world. So thank you for saying that. Keep having that positive impact, because isn't that what we're here for? That was rhetorical. Isn't that what we're here for? Thank you. Stop hamming me. Come on. Keith, what final thought do you want to leave people with?
The final thought for particularly freelance world is don't do it alone. Because no matter where you are or what you're involved with, there's a team somewhere, whether you're helping them or building it. And I'm very much into team building. And if you build the team where you are freelancing or working, that team will help support you, supporting them get to the next step.
Awesome. Don't do it alone. Build your
Don't
team.
do it alone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Ty, final thought.
I was on a roller coaster yesterday. Did I mention that? And this gal behind me was like, I really want to put my arms up, but I can't. And I'm like, yes, you can. And like the both of us, she was behind me. We both had our arms up. And my final point would be, if this is something that you want to do, yes, you can. Like, you figure it out. You do the work. It's scary. It's tough. It's hard to have 17 bosses, but yes, you can. You can do the hard thing. You can do the scary thing. You just have to take the leap and trust that it is all going to work out, because you do, if you have the fire in your heart to do this, you'll figure out a way to do it.
And I put up in the chat, and this is the final thought of yours that will go in the recap, which is put your arms up on the roller coaster of freelance life. Is that not what it all comes down to? So put your arms up, have an impact, build your team. It's your life, it's your choice, right? So, and thank you for choosing to tune in today. Again, I am Debra Eckerling. I am live Mondays at 4 p.m. Pacific on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And you can subscribe to GoalChat at your favorite place to listen to podcasts, and follow at the Deb Method on YouTube and all of the social media places. Your life, your freelance life, your choice. Go on out there and go for it, because we know you can do it.